Do you think that a university superannuation scheme with a surplus of £30 billion can't afford to keep paying existing benefits? No! And I'll tell you where the £30 billion figure comes from. Professor Rao at the Judge Business School at the University of Cambridge said that even if the university superannuation scheme went through an era of 2 world wars and a depression, like in the worst period of the 20th century, it would still have a surplus. Do you think that he's right? Yes! And do you think that USS is right? No! I agree with Professor Rao as well. Now, I think that this fight is very important, and it's not the only one, because we're also on strike because of what's known as the 4 fights. That's, we need a pay rise, we need to end the pay gaps, we need to stop overwork, and we need job security. Can we do all of these things? And I'm going to be a little bit controversial now, because there was a proposal put forward by Central UCU just last week that said we should have raised contributions in order to pay for existing benefits. Do you think that when there's a £30 billion surplus, we need to raise contributions?
No detriment!
And I think that's important, because suppose that you've got a senior lecturer or a lecturer, typical person, a 2% rise in contributions would equal a roughly £1,000 pay cut. And that was the deal that's just been rejected by the universities, that was put forward by Central UCU. I think that it's good not to have a £1,000 pay cut. What do you think? And on top of this, there would have been, on the same figures, a £1,800 cut in the funds of employers. And that was rejected as well. That's why the universities have turned down Central UCU's proposal. So we now have a choice. And that choice is whether people here and people all across the country can take control of the negotiating agenda of Central UCU and say, when we've got a £30 billion surplus, do we need a cut to existing benefits? What do you think? No. Can we have a better pension? Can we enhance the pension? Yes. Of course we can. And can we get pay rises when there are surpluses all over the university sector? Yes. Do you think that 50 years after the Equal Pay Act and the Race Relations Act, we still need to have a gender pay gap and a race pay gap of 16%? No, of course we don't. It's really, really simple. It's really simple. We can have fair pay, we can have equality, we can have job security. And we have to reform the governance of the university superannuation scheme. You might not know this, but in 2019, the university superannuation scheme changed its rules so that no director could be dismissed, wait for it, except by the existing directors. Wouldn't you love to have that kind of job security? Yeah, let's have a bit of that for us and not for them. What do you reckon? If UCU and UUK appoint directors to the pension fund, should they be able to revoke them? Yes! So do we need to reform governance? Of course we do. And we need to divest from fossil fuels. Hands up if you think, or give me a shout if you think, that we should not be investing in coal and oil and gas. Can you hear that, USS? And finally, we need to have democratic reform within our universities. At King's, we've got a petition with over 1,500 people that have signed it that said we need a majority elected governing body elected by staff and students. What do you think? Because it happens in Oxford, it happens in Cambridge, it happens in Toronto, it happens in Harvard. Do you see a pattern here?
Yes!
Yeah! So can we have it at every university that we elect people governing our university? Yes! And then we get control over pay, we get control over the pay gaps, and we have a fairer university system. But actually there's just one more thing, because we need to have free higher education respected as a human right.